Before we start the video, I just want to let you guys know that we launched a Let's Go Brandon t-shirt on the merch shop, so go ahead and click the link down below in the description. It's a great way to support us here at the Liberal Hive Mind.
Let's go, Brandon. I agree.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. This guy's political career is and has been over. How is Andrew Yang still even a thing? You know, I just made a video on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, big tough guy. Turned out to be a massive Hollywood creep, and of course a massive hypocrite throwing Joe Rogan under the bus to save his own skin, like I keep saying. And in that video, I was talking about how bravery these days, especially when it comes to men, is in seriously short supply. And here's another perfect example. Andrew Yang has to be one of the biggest cowards I have ever seen in my entire life. The guy came out as a fiery political candidate before the election, or before the Democratic primary process, getting the whole Yang Gang going thing. You know, it seemed almost as if he had some decent political movement, some enthusiasm, some hype. People viewed him as a serious political threat because he was even branching over to the political right and taking what people perceived as Trump supporters under his Yang Gang umbrella. It started Yang promoting himself as being relatively anti-establishment, not a Democrat, not a Republican. Then it comes out that he's running as a Democrat, and people thought, maybe he's gonna be a political outsider. But then the moment he was met with any type of scrutiny whatsoever, the moment he was dealing with political attacks and slanderous labels, people claiming that Andrew Yang represents the alt-right, or is being embraced by the alt-right, the guy became such a massive coward. Instead of standing up for himself and standing up to the slander in the media, he essentially caved into the narrative, apologized during his time on the debate stage, caving into all the SJW talking points, and by the end of it, honestly, it became almost hard to differentiate Andrew Yang from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, on certain issues at least. Becoming president, being a good leader, requires a couple things. The first is obviously charisma, which we know that Andrew Yang clearly doesn't have. The second is confidence, which you could argue he has, which you could argue he doesn't have. And the third is standing by your beliefs, actually believing them and standing up for them, and not caving into mob pressure. Andrew Yang certainly doesn't have this one, as even just a little bit of pressure from the social justice mob on Twitter has Mr. Yang doing 180s and backflips and spinning wheel kicks. And no, that was not an Asian karate joke for those of you guys who are accusing me of microaggressions, although you could probably interpret it as such. Each way is fine for me. I don't really care. The point is, Andrew Yang is the biggest coward, and this is why his political career is over, and this is why he is no longer a serious candidate, most recently rebranding himself as an independent and probably going to run for president again. But let me show you exactly why it's just never going to work out. The guy is just not made of leadership stuff. Let me show you guys what's going on, but of course, before we get into any of it, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible. We are still shadow banned, YouTube algorithm hidden from non-subscribed viewers. With that out of the way, let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so if you truly believe something, you truly in your heart believe something, you know it to be true, it's clearly evident, it is absolutely the right opinion, and then you voice that opinion on Twitter, but a bunch of left-wing Twitter losers then try to condemn you for it and cancel you for it, what do? Do you ignore them? Do you double down and say, no, this is what I believe, and stick by your beliefs and stick by your friend? Or do you immediately cave, assume the fetal position, and cry for forgiveness and acceptance? Well, the first two options are pretty strong and are probably what you should do in the face of this cancel mob. The third option is a very ill-advised option that we've now seen so many different times, from Patton Oswalt to Dwayne Johnson to now Andrew Yang. He tweets out, I don't think Joe Rogan is a racist. The man interacts with and works with black people literally all of the time. Do I know black friends of Joe's who would swear by him? Yes, I do. What's the issue here, folks? The disingenuous, dishonest, hateful left-wing Twitter mob took a bunch of clips of Joe Rogan saying racial slurs completely out of context, where Joe Rogan was quoting other people. It's clearly a hit piece. It's clearly a slanderous mob campaign to take down Joe Rogan. And any rational human being, especially people who are associated with Joe Rogan, Andrew Yang and Joe Rogan have a friendly relationship, he's been on his show, well, the rational reaction would be, hey, Joe's not a racist, what are you guys saying? And you should stand by that statement. Andrew Yang, however, is met with a little bit of criticism and immediately does exactly what you'd expect from Andrew Yang. I like to believe the best people, especially if I've met and spent time with that person. Sometimes it makes me miss something. I think we should have the capacity to forgive people, whether a podcaster or a mayor, if they mess up. Maybe it's because I mess up too. Racism is real, deep, corrosive, and even lethal. I know that. I made a mistake in an earlier tweet tonight that downplayed these realities. I deleted the tweet because it was wrong-headed. It also hurt people which is never my intent. I'm sorry. I'm learning and appreciate those who reached out to express their feeling. Give me a break. I mean, what an absolute coward. Andrew Yang says that he made a mistake in defending Joe Rogan. Why? People keep saying this, but I still don't understand why. You know, where are these terrible examples of racism from Joe Rogan? There's that one edited clip that's completely taken out of context that of course we know is full of crap. And then in the comment section in response afterwards, you constantly see people say that Joe Rogan has a history of racist remarks and hate towards people of color. But I'm still here sitting waiting for a clear example that's not edited and taken out of context that proves that. Of course, it's never going to come because it doesn't exist. And Andrew Yang had an opportunity here. He had an opportunity, just like Dwayne Johnson did, to stand by what he knows about his quote friend, Joe Rogan, but instead he immediately caves and apologizes to the mob. Real, honest, brave men are in short supply, especially in the public world. It's just crazy. Let's say I had a friend and I knew that person was a real good guy, and then clips of him are circulating around the internet, painting him as some sort of devil, and then I defend him on Twitter. I say, guys, those clips are taken out of context. I know him. He's a real good guy. Well, if I start to receive backlash, even whether it be from my own audience, I'm not going to then backstab and throw that friend under a bus to gain favor with whoever's trying to cancel me, considering most of the time it's a small, very loud and obnoxious minority that spends all of their time on Twitter pretending to be social justice activists who don't represent the larger view. It's the same thing with Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's a transphobe. Dave Chappelle, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, there's a lot of people on BuzzFeed and Vox and Salon.com that are writing that stuff. A lot of Twitter losers. But does the majority of the American public, and do people with heads on their shoulders and enough functioning brain cells, just enough to be able to critically think, of course the majority of people, do they think that Dave Chappelle is an irredeemable transphobe who should be canceled and destroyed? No. Why would you side with the Twitter mob? Why would you give them an inch when they want to take a mile? It's never going to be enough. You apologize for one thing, you've officially given them power, you've given them leverage, and then every time you say anything, you better be careful, because they're going to continue to mold you and control you. Do as we say, or we will continue to intimidate you and try to ratio you on Twitter. This is why Andrew Yang is not a serious candidate. It's why he's not a serious public figure at all. It's why he's not a leader. The same thing happened during the debates. He was supposed to be different from the Democrats. He was supposed to be a different candidate, offering a different message. Well, by the end of it, he had been hard-pressed and molded into a Twitter activist by the time he got on that stage. No differentiation, no difference between Andrew Yang and the other guy, except for the fact that he keeps talking about UBI and automation and other things. All in all, just another train wreck, just another coward, another spineless politician who's either going to be molded by the establishment, molded by lobbyists, or molded by the Twitter mob. Same difference, honestly. But what the world needs are more strong-minded leaders who know what the right thing is and they stand by it, immune to coercion, intimidation, and immune to corruption. Andrew Yang is not that guy, and he's proved it essentially every single step of the way. That's what I got for you guys, though. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share it as much as possible. We are still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. I'm going to get back to work, though. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one.